So this has a lot of capabilities when it comes to preparedness and preppers. Okay, this is going to be a really quick, down and dirty review of this silver thing behind me. This is a Berkey water filter. It's called their Big Berkey. And pretty much what it is one of the best gravity-fed water filters out there on the market today. The model I have is called the Big Berkey. They have the Travel Berkey, the Imperial Berkey, the Crown Berkey, and maybe a couple other sizes. The Big Berkey is actually, for how big it is, it's actually one of their smaller ones. It has a capacity of 2 1/4 gallons. It's made out of a 304 series stainless steel, very durable stuff. Like I can squeeze this and it's not bending. They make stock pots and different stainless steel cookware out of this stuff, and this is even a little bit thicker than a lot of stock pots and pans. It has a nice mirror polish. I will tell you, with age and just with like handling it and wrangling it and lifting it and moving it, this one is like there's marks and scuffs and whatnot, but it's still pretty shiny. It looks pretty new, even though it's like 5 years old, maybe 4 or 5 years old. But you could just take like a sponge and water and soap and stuff and wash it off. I don't find it to be that big of an issue, but some people, they might want to keep it clean, wash it once a year or something like that. The SKU number is BK4X2/BB. If you wanted to know that, it includes 2 black Berkey filters with the capability to add 2 more. So inside here, which I'll show you in a second, you have the opportunity to add a total of 4 black filters. It only comes with 2. Pretty much each filter head is good for 3,000 gallons. So the combination I have in here right now is good for 6,000. I actually just replaced them with brand new filters recently. If you had all 4 filters in there, you're talking about 12,000 gallons of water. This being about 2 gallons, you're talking about filling this 6,000 times. So these filters last a long time. The dimensions of it are 19 inches tall and 8.5 inches in diameter, and it weighs empty, I think, in the neighborhood of 6 to 7 pounds. This being kind of that shiny, bright stainless steel, it doesn't look out of place sitting on a kitchen countertop next to your sink. A lot of times people have those spray head attachments for their sink. So if you have this next to your sink, so this is going in to your sink, if that makes sense, you can take that sprayer head, pop it up here, and fill it that way. And then you never have to take this off, fill it with water, and put it back and all that stuff. Real quick, I want to talk about what it cleans out of water. It pretty much cleans out everything that is bad for the human body. So real quick, I'm not going to pretend to know all this stuff, all these scientific, biological terms. But it says it filters out 99.9999% pathogenic bacteria surrogate. And then it said Rotella terragina, Cryptosporidium, 99.9999% of viruses, E. coli, stuff like that. 99.8%, which is close enough to 100%, of trihalomethanes, which are, they can be in solvents, they can be in AC refrigerant liquid, the liquid that's in air conditioners, and they're very carcinogenic. And And then inorganic minerals like chlorine, chloramine. Chloramine they add to city drinking water, but the EPA regulates no more than 4 parts per million. So pretty much if you fill this just with plain drinking water, it's removing that chloramine, which they've done studies whether it's good or bad for long-term consumption and all that crap. But the thing is, there's no harm in removing it because it's not in natural, clean drinking water. So you're not losing out. If anything, you're not losing out whatsoever if you put city water in here, because it's taking out a lot of the chemicals the water company puts in to preserve the water, and then you're filtering it out right before you drink it, which can have health benefits. And then it takes out like VOCs and rust, silt, sediment, odor, and smell, which it's kind of weird, but a lot of times when water has a foul smell, it's because of what is like dissolved or what's in the water. So then this filters it out. So you can put pond water in the top here, and then after about an hour, hour and a half, it will gravity feed all of it into the lower part. You can turn the tap on, and it doesn't smell like pond water. It doesn't smell skunky or dirty or muddy or whatever. You won't believe it, but I can tell the difference between just drinking out of the tap and drinking out of this. If you live in the country or you've lived in the country and you've just drinking well water, like if you had a well on your property or something like that, a good well that didn't have high amounts of iron and different heavy metals, that's what this tastes like. That's what I forgot to mention too. This does remove like 98% of heavy metals, iron, manganese, magnesium. This right here is an added feature, this nozzle. I have the original one as a backup just in case this breaks. But pretty much, it's way down there. But if you can see, that's the water level, which means the water is just about right about there. So this lets you know how full your reservoir is. The top, it's kind of dirty and dusty. There's supposed to be kind of a knob right here to pull the cap off, but it wasn't screwed in tight enough and it fell off one time, a long time ago. That's what it looks like. So what you're looking at is you got the two Berkey black filters, and then these right here are plugs. So you just untwist those plugs when you get two new filters. It'll kind of be hard doing this one-handed, but those two white things there, they're called like the P2S or the PS2 or something like that. And those are after filters, so they're attached directly below the Berkey blacks. And that will remove fluoride down to a safe level. It removes pretty much all the fluoride. And then there's the water. Okay, so I don't want this to be like a super long video that people find boring. But pretty much, my thoughts on it, the positives to this filter is no moving parts. The only moving part in this system while it's working is the water. The water, just by simple physics, moving from here down to here. There's no manual, you don't move any parts, the filters don't move. There's no moving parts. This thing is super, super simple. So a pro is the durability because lack of moving parts. The size, I got the big Berkey. They make one, I think it's called the Travel Berkey, and I think that has like a 1.5 or maybe even only a 1 gallon capacity. That would be fine for one person or two people. Really, you know, you're talking a gallon of water within the course of say an hour and a half or an hour is more than enough, especially in an emergency situation. They make the Imperial and the Crown Berkeys, so like some of those are like super tall, and they can accept like 12 filters, I believe, and they hold like 4 gallons and stuff like that, and they're massive. I I'm sure some people buy them, but I don't think they're that popular. What I would recommend is, if you're a big family, buy 2 of these. That way you have redundancy. That way you can store one and you can use one daily. So you have a fresh one, brand new one, and then you have a used one. You can have them in 2 separate areas. You could possibly trade or barter one, or give it to like another family if they need it. That's what I would recommend doing. I would only get this one or the slightly smaller one, and then if you need to in the future, buy 2 of them. The big ones, they're hard to store, and to like use them daily, they take up a lot of real estate in the kitchen and stuff like that. This one looks big, but it's, once you get used to it, it's not that big. It doesn't take up a lot of space. I want to talk about a couple downsides. So right down here, there's a rubber O-ring, and then there's like some O-rings inside here. All those, I would recommend getting at least 1 or 2 spare sets, because I've had them dry out before or just kind of like fail. So this one down here, one time at night, I filled this up, and then I was just going to let it trickle down just like normal, to filter. And I woke up in the morning and the water was like here, and there was like water everywhere. There was a towel under the dish rack, and that towel was soaking wet, and there was like water on the floor and everything. And what had happened is that O-ring there just got too old, so it started leaking, just dripping. So that's something to keep in mind. That's the weak point right there. This whole area right here is the weak point, actually. If you're going to store this, have at least 1 spare of these, and when it's in storage, take this off and put it inside of here so it's protected. This whole thing is circular, except this is just asking to be accidentally hit super light and just snap off. If you don't have this, or it's broken, you're kind of SOL. I mean, the water would leak out of here, so you could put a bucket or something like that. But you're kind of SOL. You could get some type of PVC or like some type of plumbing attachment to block that hole. I would recommend just having a couple extra ones of these. It comes with a standard one that doesn't have this vial here. I would save that one and get this. This, it doesn't seem that important, but it is helpful, just to have that water guide right there. The output, it's pretty fast. It fills up, like I filled this up, it took like, I don't know, 3 seconds or something like that. The filtering speed, I've never really measured it because it's a passive system. You don't see the water, you just fill it up, and don't plan to be in a hurry. You just fill it up, you leave it, and it's done when it's done. Like I said, these are newly replaced filters. The old ones, every once in a while, I'd take them out and use like a SOS pad, like a Brillo pad, and like a Scotch-Brite pad, and just kind of like work it back and forth and take that outer layer of the filter off, and that would speed up my times. But keep in mind that every time you do that, it does diminish the life just a little bit of the filter. But the filter, it lasts forever. The filters are pretty expensive. I want to say for 2, I paid right around $100. So like if you get 2 more, you're talking about an extra $100, but you double the filtration speed and you double the life of all the filters. But these would be good to stock up on. They don't really have a shelf life because they don't have really a shelf life. But all in all, I think the base price for one of these is $250 for this size. The travel Berkey, or the one size smaller than this, I believe is right around $200. I would recommend that one. This one doesn't do anything extra. That one, I believe, comes with the 2 filters, so it will filter at the same rate. You just won't have as much capacity, but you're still talking about a gallon of drinking water. and then you just keep a pitcher, or you keep like, you know, if it's next to the sink, you can just fill it up super easy. If you're talking about preparedness wise, you have one of these jugs, you would take this bin off, put it below the jug, turn the spout, fill it up, and get your water that way. But if I was to do this again, I'd probably get the travel Berkey. It's the size, it's one size smaller than this. It's a little cheaper, it's a little smaller, it's a little more compact, and it would do the same exact thing. This is the big Berkey though, probably the most popular one. I wouldn't get the bigger ones, like for the reasons I stated earlier, unless you're just a really big family with a dozen kids or something like that. Once again, this was just a quick review. You could call it a 5-year review, I guess, on the Berkey. Okay, guys, so if you like this review, feel free to go check these out. There's multiple sites. I'll leave a couple of the links below, but all you gotta do is type into Google Big Berkey, and the first sites that pop up, one is straight from the retailer, but there's multiple places to get them online. I think you can even get some of them on Amazon, so that's another option. But if you like this review, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. Leave a comment below if you own a Berkey or if you plan to buy one. If you have any questions about them, type it in the comments below and ask me. And if I'm able to answer, I'll answer. And if you haven't already, go back to my homepage, watch some of my recent videos, and if you like what you see, feel free to subscribe. You know, I'd really greatly appreciate that. But until next time, stay hydrated.